All right. I am no expert on live streaming. This has been a disaster. I have wasted people's time and time again, every time I try and do one of these live streams. I spent hours today working on installing some new software. It took only a couple minutes. Spent a little time with the software, got us what was working, ran a test, it worked just fine. Figured, we're going to be able to access this event and go through and put it all together. Did not work, plain and simple. It won't let me access it. I get an error message when I Google the error message. No one's ever heard of the error message. None of the web pages that are available have any information on that error message. It just says you should delete the event and start over. But the whole point of adding the software today was to set it up so that I could let you know in the subscriptions that this event was going to take place. So you would get the little notification. So you would get the little thumbnail. It would come up in your subscription feed on your YouTube app or on your YouTube web page, whatever. And now that doesn't work. I can't do that. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I've got a whole bunch of people on another stream, on another web page, another YouTube web page, and those folks are waiting for this stream to start, and it's not going to start on that feed because it's screwed up. So I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to do about this stuff. And if anybody knows anything about, I'm trying to use the software to do it. I tried it right through this, and it's just not going to do it. I am just not able to set it up the way I am. So we only got 3 people on here. A whole bunch of people are going to miss the live stream. Thank you, Wilfredo Rosado. I am so happy to have you here. At least someone has found it. I'm going to go through and do this. Folks that didn't make it, I apologize. I really, really, really sincerely do. Maybe I'm going to keep doing this. Maybe I'm not. If I can't get confirmation that this is going to work on a weekly basis, or it's going to work when I want it to work, it's going to work as intended, simply not going to do it. It's frustrating for me because now here we are 10 minutes after, or 10 minutes after the time when I scheduled this to start, and we got 3 people watching it, but there's 25 or 30 people over on the other feed trying to get on. Not good, but I extend my apologies right now. How this is going to work, I'm going to go through some tips for filming your own hunts, show you the gear that I use. I've laid it all out in front of me. I got this all planned out today, spent time on this today, planned it all out, and even spent time with the software. Those of you who subscribe to Death by Bungie saw a whole bunch of live feeds earlier on today. I kept going live by accident, basically. I kind of knew it was going to happen, but I was playing with the software trying to get this to work, and that's where we are. Okay, so we are where we are. But we'll do the best we can with this. If you guys can bear with me for 1 second. I don't think I have the other streams up now. I'm going to go back to these and see if I can click on those, maybe get a hold of these guys and let them know that we are over here at this other one. Sorry, I screwed it up again. Live stream on channel is live under the other feed. Check YouTube page and it should be there. Sorry about this. And again, I cannot apologize enough to you guys. I'm just going to delete that and go on with this. We're going to do this. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Like I said, the actual video from this, the actual audio from this will remain on the YouTube channel. And people who I let down by not letting you get here, not helping you get here, Loxbog, good to see you. And these things are fun when they're work, but man, I got to get this figured out. I can't keep dragging, letting you people down with this stuff. So I really do apologize. But we're going to do this. We'll put it on here, and everybody will still have access to all the stuff that I was going to cover here and here. Anyway, post your questions and stuff. What I'm going to do is go through the gear here real quick, give you a little spiel about filming your own hunt, some tips as I go through it, just off the cuff, off the top of my head. This is a live stream. And then when I'm done, we'll talk through your stuff there, answer some questions, and see where we're at. We are going to start out with, and I'm going to kind of go from beginner to advanced, so that if you are familiar with filming your own hunts, you're going to get some new information out of here. By the time I get all the way over to this side, you're going to see some really neat gear, I hope, that's a little bit different. I'll give you some tips on that stuff. But if you're brand new to filming your own hunts, you're going to want to start, in my opinion, with something that is a weapon-based camera, something that is mounted on your camera. Now, I have it in my hands. the Tacticam 5.0. This is an awesome little camera. I was really impressed with it when I went to Maryland. It really did a good job. You do not have to have the 5.0. The 4.0 works great by all reports that I have received from some folks here who are friends of Bungie who have posted stuff for us. And when I look back there at where I started with my hunts, if you look at the hunts on the YouTube channel that we filmed here, that I have filmed for Death by Bungie, there is a lot of stuff is GoPro related. Now I still use the GoPro, and I'll still go over that, and I'll show you what I do with the GoPro. And you can mount the GoPro. One of the first videos I uploaded on the Death by Bungie YouTube channel was using a GoPro to film your own hunt. You can mount that on your crossbow scope. You can mount that to the front rail of to the front end of your bow if you're a compound bow hunter. You can mount them on rifles. I've mounted them on my head, and I've had a lot of fun with GoPros over the years. They're a great camera. They're an action camera. They have a very small sensor, but they do a great job outdoors. They're very durable. They're weatherproof if you have the housings correct and all that. The problem with the GoPro, kind of a wide angle. Like I said, I'm going to show you how I still use a GoPro. But the Tacticam does zoom in, especially this new one. It's an 8x zoom, an 8x zoom, so it's zoomed right in. And it's an optical zoom. It still retains really good picture quality when it zooms in. It's awesome. So this is a great way to start looking at something that is going to be mounted on your sensor. It's not the best footage. It's not going to qualify for stuff on the outdoor channel necessarily, but it's a lot better than nothing. And I had hunts where I was hunting with a crossbow where having something on like this quality of footage is better than not having it. You know, it's certainly better than nothing. But it's also on these things, they give you the ability to do some slow motion. I have been really impressed with this. Now, if the software that I downloaded today and installed and prepared this video with was working, I would show you footage from each of these cameras. I had it all lined up. I was going to show you some sample footage. But you can always watch the sample footage on the YouTube channel on the other videos that I've uploaded. So that one mounts right on there. Now, this mount, I've had my questions about this mount and how long that's going to last, but it does seem to do a pretty good job. It offsets it, it mounts it off to the side. It's actually not interfering with the scope. So far, so good. I do like the Tacticam. So a weapon-based camera is a great way to start if you want to get into filming your own hunts. With this one, it's great too, because watch. I'll show you how you do it. You basically just push that button, and it lights up, and then you can't tell, but it just vibrated twice. So I know it's recording. I'm recording you. Yay, look at that. I'm recording with this camera and I'm recording with this camera. Now to turn it off, you just hold it down. It'll vibrate twice and essentially just shut down. You can see the little battery indicator. There were 2 dots lit up. The charge lasts on this for quite a while, and to charge it, it's pretty practical. And I'm going to give you a tip right now about filming in the outdoors. And that is, every time you come back from filming in the outdoors, you make sure that you go charge your batteries. Just pat the cap off the back, USB charging, all that sort of thing. This allows you to access the card in the back, but always charge your batteries every night. That's what I do. I only go out to hunt with fully charged batteries. If you do that, you never have to worry about it. Early on, I would sort of try to make do with the camera that I had or with the amount of camera battery left over that I had. And inevitably, you're disappointed. Inevitably, you have problems. So that's it for the Tacticam. I'm going to go through that. That would be the first one. And then when I was going to show you the footage, and for those of you just joining us, I had some problems with the live stream again, and this is entirely on me, I think. I have cable internet here. This is fast internet. It should not be internet connection speed. That is the problem. I disabled my phone. I took the battery out of my phone because it kept wanting to download podcasts for me to listen to on the way to work tomorrow. And I can't download podcasts and stream live on YouTube. So I just took the battery out of it, and that didn't fix the problem. I still was having trouble with it. But I'm seeing a lot of the names here on this live stream that were logged into the other live stream. I'm sorry to let you folks down. So we're just going to continue on with this little show here. Like I said, I'm going to go through the comments, probably save the comments for the end, but I'm going to go through the camera gear that I've got here. And we started off with the Tacticam. Like I said, I really do recommend if you're new to filming your own hunts, start out with a weapon-based camera. Now, I use for the majority of my filming, and eventually, let's say you want to get a little bit more advanced, you want to get a little bit more high-end, you're going to want to move into a bigger camera, a handheld camera, or a camera that goes on a tripod. Now, I use this DSLR, and if you look at my videos, and I wish I could show them to you, the videos that I had prepared to go with this live stream. But the DSLR is a detachable lens camera. You can pop the lens right off of it, and then you can see the interior of the camera and all that stuff. This one does have a mirror in it. It is a DSLR. These types of cameras give you the ability to do real low light scenarios a little bit better. Not great low light performance, but better than a smaller sensor camera like this. The other thing about this is it will give you that shallow depth of field and give you that so-called cinematic look, that really, really good looking picture once you know how to use it. Now, this camera, I want to show you something right off the bat. When you look at the lens on this, and then you look at the lens on this bad boy, you can see two things. First of all, that this one's much dirtier. That's one problem here. But look at the dirt on that lens. That's terrible. That's a shame. But the lens, the size of this lens tells you that it's going to let a lot more light into that sensor. It's going to let a lot more light get in there and get manipulated by the sensor and recorded by the sensor. So it's going to do better in low light than these smaller sensor, smaller lens cameras. But also, the other thing that's nice about that big lens is that's what helps you get that shallow depth of field and a much more beautiful picture, if you know what you're doing. Now, because of that, here's the thing. I've been using this since 2012, maybe. I think I got my first DSLR. This is the second one I've had. This is the Canon T7i. It's not an expensive camera. It's $650 for the body. And the lenses fit on my old camera that I had. The one before it was a T5i, and I just sort of switched it over to this. This is a phenomenal camera. I honestly think that this is just like the greatest camera. And people, they knock this camera because it doesn't have 4K, but you know, I can't even upload 4K half the time. So why would you get hung up on 4K? If you are new to filming, though, this is a hard thing to learn. You really got to understand aperture, ISO, you got to understand frame rates. You got to be able to work with the manual settings. And if you're into that, if you want to work with that, if you want to manipulate the color, manipulate the picture quality, then these are awesome. If you're really going to get advanced into it, then get one of these. But before you get one of these, I do recommend that you spend years with a video camera. Get comfortable with a video camera, with using that to take pictures, to take video, and shoot all that sort of thing. Video cameras really do work better in most scenarios for filming your own hunts than a DSLR. They're more waterproof than this is, probably, a lot of them anyway. They are going to give you access to 4K if that's important to you, a lot easier than it is in one of these bodies, a lot cheaper. The video cameras come in all ranges and sizes and levels of beautifulness and all that good stuff, but they also have zooms built in, whereas I got to change out lenses. This only zooms out so far. If I want to zoom out farther and capture images of a deer on the other end of a soybean field like I did in Maryland, I got to take this lens off, put on another lens. That's a pain in the neck. That gets in the way of your hunting. But so there's trade-offs. The zoom on a video camera is awesome. I really do recommend, if you're new to filming your own hunts, you start with a weapon-based one so you get a feel for it, and then move your way up. This and a video camera goes a long way. Video cameras are awesome. So Jay Fritzinger, yes, this is the good one. This is the live stream that is going to work. So let's hope it's good. I don't know. We'll see how we make out. Regardless of whether you get a video camera or a DSLR mirrorless type camera, you're going to want to invest in something that will give you better sound. Now, I've used the Rode Video Mic Pro. I am not using it right now. It does not work with this live stream stuff, and frankly, I'm not sure how much more of this live stream. I love these live streams. I love talking to you guys on here. I can see we're going to have some great conversations. There's currently 26 people on here. We probably would have more if I knew what I was doing and trying to hook up that software. It just didn't work out. But you can hook up one of these microphones to these DSLR cameras, plugs right in there. And this microphone isn't even the newest version of this Rode Video Mic Pro, but it is an awesome microphone. It does work great. This is what's known as a dead cat. And if you were going to film your own hunts with this or with a video camera, and this mounts on a video camera too, then you're going to want one of these, because in the outdoors, the wind blows. If you are filming in Oklahoma or Wyoming, you will probably put this on here, right? Put it right on here, and you're going to leave it on there all the time. You probably never take it off. Here in Pennsylvania, about half the time you need that on here. So I think for the most part, having this, it's called a dead cat because it looks like a dead cat, I guess, but it slides on over the microphone and it just cuts down the wind. It's a very good, handy thing to have here. So we're moving our way across, like I said. Those of you who don't want to get into the video cameras, those of you who don't want to get into the DSLR type camera, and I totally understand that, but this is for me. These things are set up for me in a way. They let me take both pictures and the video, and that's very important to me. I really do enjoy the videography as well as the photography. I enjoy both of them. But what I'm trying to get at here is there's lots of options, And I'm going to show you another option, and that is cell phones. We all have cell phones, right? We all have a cell phone that we can use to take pictures, and we can all use it to shoot video. And you can, on eBay or Amazon.com, or maybe even at a local Kmart or something, you can buy one of these little doodads, which will allow you to mount your cell phone on a tripod. It puts a 1/4 20 thread hole on the bottom, so you can mount that right on a tripod. Now, a couple of the tripods that I've used in the past, I bought some of these Gorilla Pod, I think they're called Gorilla Pod tripods, but these are pretty handy. Okay, you can just screw this right on there or on any tripod, and then put your cell phone in here. This is a way for you to film the recovery of your animal, for you to film pictures and videos of you while you are out there sighting in your crossbow. You can use this for any variety of things. You sit on the edge of a cornfield waiting for a deer to come in, all that good stuff. You can use your cell phone with one of these. You have already got a cell phone. Most people already have a cell phone that takes great video and great pictures. Most of us already have this. All you got to do is add a $3 or $4 little gadget like this, and all of a sudden now you can use your cell phone to help film your own hunts. And that's pretty cool. If you've got something where you can film your own hunt with a cell phone, then you really don't have excuses anymore for not trying to capture your hunts while you're out there. Now, this isn't important to everybody, and I know that the filming videos that I've done have not gotten the same kind of traction that the hunting videos or the crossbow videos get, and I understand that. But one of the things I wanted to express here in this video, in this live stream, is that there's a lot of benefits to filming your own hunts. One of them is sharing your adventures, your outdoor stories with other people. When you get all done and you can make that little interview video of this, telling the story, and then interweave that with the footage that you shot when you're out there in the field with this guy, you can make a really, really good story to start sharing with people. And I've kind of started Death by Bungee in my mind, at least, a desire to help people enjoy the outdoors and share that enjoyment. And filming your own hunts goes a long way in doing that. Now, I want to show you the other thing. Like I said, interweaving, right? We're going to not just have one piece of video footage. Anybody can shoot a deer, get it on video, and then just upload a clip of that hunt, that 30-second clip, up to their YouTube channel and call it good. But let's go a little bit further than that. Let's tell a story. Show the area where you're hunting. Show what the struggles were, what the challenges were when you were getting out there to your tree stand, or when you were setting up in your blind, or whatever you were doing when you're stalking that deer. Let's get some background information about where you are and who you are. And that's what makes it more interesting. I think a lot of people here ask me questions all the time on Facebook or here on YouTube about personal stuff, not necessarily too personal, but I'm talking about like where you're hunting and what was this piece of equipment, what was that piece of equipment, because we want to know that stuff. We want to share that information. This is a great way to do it. And one way to do that is to have multiple pieces of equipment, right? Let's have a camera. Let's have the Tacticam or some kind of weapon mounted thing, a camera. Let's have something that takes a wider angle or zooms in, depending on the circumstances, like a DSLR or a video camera, but also the wide angle that we have for our GoPros. The GoPros, like I said, it's to mount on the camera, mount that camera on your crossbow scope. To me, that's too wide an angle of view, but it was better than nothing, and I really liked it. Okay, and I had at some hunts that was all I had, right? But the Tacticam is a little bit better because it zooms in, but it's always best if you got some of that footage on multiple cameras. And this is another example of that. I've got a koozie on there right now. You take the koozie off, it's protecting my GoPro. And this is that little camera clamp that I've got that I've showed you guys before. I did other videos on a lot of this stuff. There's videos about this. But this camera clamp, you can open it up and then stick it right on a branch. I did that down in Maryland. You'll see some great footage here in the next video that should be coming out this week. But this just shoots a wide angle, and it's running off to the side. And I power it with the help of this guy. Now, this is just a black case, but I put some camouflage tape on it. I power that with this little battery pack right here. It's the TurboPack 9000. And once you hook that up, this will run it all day. It'll run a GoPro all day long. And I've got a 128 gigabyte card, or 64, I think it's 128 gigabyte card in that GoPro, and it just plugs in with the USB cord. And I can stick this right in a tree, and it will just sit there and power that GoPro all day long. And before you know, I'll do a video on this down the road if you guys are interested. Let me know in the comments here if you are. But yeah, this is a great way to get a side view, sort of that what I call that field cam. It gives you a second camera angle for sure of any of your hunts, and it helps you tell the story. It helps you show the direction the deer came from, helps show where you were in relationship to the deer. Pretty cool stuff. So that's all my cameras. I do have one other camera, which I use from time to time, very little, and that is this drone. And you've seen that in a video here or a video there, but it's not something that I make a regular part of the channel. It's just something I fly for fun. And that's all there is to that. So that is, ladies and gentlemen, that's the cameras that I wanted to talk to you about. Basically, the takeaway from this live stream is let's have multiple camera angles if you can, right? Let's have the DSLR, let's have the weapon mounted camera angle, and as well as a sort of a wide view. And that way you got multiple camera angles. The other thing to look at always comes down to this is, do you focus on filming, or do you focus on hunting? And we got to choose. Sometimes you got to choose when you're out there. Sometimes in life we just have to choose. I prefer to choose the filming is more important to me than the hunting part of it. Not everybody's that way, and you got to make that decision for yourself. But to me, I really like the filming, and I really want the video because it's not just enough for me. I can always shoot deer or whatever, but I got to have footage and to bring back and put in the computer and manipulate and cut and edit and do all that fun stuff. So to me, that's more important. So I would let a deer walk. Yes, I would, if I couldn't get footage of it. Now, with this, I don't really ever have to make that choice. I'm satisfied if I saw that big buck of a lifetime, as long as this thing was running and I was reasonably confident that this guy was getting it on video, I would just take the shot and I'd be happy with this. Okay, I'd be very proud of it. But it's always best if you can get this, and ideally this guy here too. Get 3 different camera angles. That's ideal. But the filming, I wouldn't want to rush a shot. Don't ever get yourself set up ahead of time. This thing I just turn on and leave on. I don't turn this on and off with my phone anymore or anything. I just let it run all day long. It's like surveillance footage. It's just sort of filming the general area. And if it picks it up, great. Then I go back and I just delete all the files that don't have the deer on it or that don't have the turkey on it. And I keep the files that do have the deer or do have the turkey. It takes a little bit of time every night to sort that out if you're hunting a lot, but it's still worth it. That's where I look at with that stuff. So that's where I am at. I think that about covers it, but just don't ever jeopardize your hunting. Don't risk wounding an animal. Don't risk your safety for the purposes of filming. You don't want to do that. So let's look at some of the comments, some of the questions and concerns you might have here. We've got a bunch of people here. Wilfredo Rosado. Yes, I'm glad you made it over here. I really do. It's what a pain in the neck this has been. So it has been a pain for me to figure out this live stream stuff. I have this kind of camera down. I can do anything with this, right? I can shoot good video and I can edit good, but the live stream stuff is new. And my computer, like I said, just for those of you who just joined us, the DS I have, that thing is, and now it's giving me notice that the connection's unstable. I got high-speed internet. I'm gonna have to up the connection rate or something, figure it out. But I really do like the Picatinny mount. When you're able to mount this on your rail and not on a crossbow, then that's pretty good. Hello everyone. I really do appreciate you guys sticking with me here to get to this thing. It has been a big old problem. Saw a really good question here. How do you descent your gear? The deer never seem to notice your GoPros, even if they're right next to them. You know, it makes a difference where you are. ESRASK, SRASK. YouTube handles aren't as easy to pronounce sometimes as the Facebook handles. But that's a great question. How do you descent your gear? If you've ever noticed, this thing sits in a tree right off to the side. It makes a difference where you hunt, because when I've got this thing mounted, this looks like an eyeball to a deer, right? Like that's going to concern a deer. You've got to watch those lenses. If they can see lenses, it looks like an eyeball. It's a giant eyeball. That puts deer on alert. In Pennsylvania, when I hook this up on the side of a food plot or anywhere close to the apple tree or anything like that, the deer are all over. Man, they look at that and they're doing the ducking thing. This drives them nuts. I go to Maryland and I have never had a deer give it to. They look right at it and just keep going. They don't care. The deer in Maryland, a lot more people around. They're not as pressured, I don't think, as they are here in Pennsylvania. Here in Pennsylvania with a lot of hunters, the deer are just nervous and on edge all the time. And I really got to notice that this year, that it really matters where you're at. So you know, that's an issue. I wipe this down with scent-free wipes, and that's it. That's all I do to de-scent it. I have scent-free wipes, you know, the same ones I leave in my backpack to wipe off my face and all that. I wipe this down with that before I hunt. Same thing with the battery pack. I go through and wipe this down, stick that in a tree, and it works fine. And it is what it is. In Pennsylvania, I just got to keep it away from where I expect the deer to be. It's going to be a real wide angle view because it's really backed off. In Maryland, I can put it right over the, I can pretty much put it on top of the deer. They wouldn't even mind. It really doesn't matter where you're at. But that's how I descend it. Gary Rose does not like the idea of mounting things on the scope. I never had a problem with it that I can point to that was a problem, but I will tell you it kind of bothers me too, and that's one of the reasons I like the rail mount. I liked switching to that. Clamping some of the scope, you're only asking for trouble. You really, you know, you could be, if you tighten something down on the scope too tight, you could crimp it to the point where it messes up your reticles. On the other hand, you keep fiddling with it, taking it on and off when you get it in and out of the truck, in and out of the car, in and out of the case, whatever. You can be adjusting your scope that way. It could happen. It could happen. So it's a problem. Hello to Wisconsin, Brett Collins. Great to hear from you, and I'm glad you made it over to this. This thing was a pain in the neck, I'm telling you. I'm going to spend some more time on these live streams figuring it out because I'm not one to give up on such things. And I do enjoy this. I really do enjoy the conversations we get to have and the topics and stuff. And this one I had it all laid out. It was going to be so perfect. And I had footage set up and everything, and it's given me fits with the footage and everything. It didn't even want to cooperate for that. How much did I pay for the Tacticam? I think this is like $500 for the new one. But if you look around, they still sell the old ones, the 4.0 and that sort of thing. This one's got its advantages. I really do like the new one, but it's not a cheap thing. Like $500 for this, $600 or so for the DSLR body. Like they're not a cheap camera, but they're a specialty camera. And to be honest with you, I have my complaints about this. There's things I don't particularly like about it, but for what it is, it's a good camera. It really is. Overall, I really was glad that I had that with me down there in Maryland. Thought awesome footage on the doe kill, Mr. Camo. I thought that turned out pretty good too because you can slow it down. I was shooting at 120 frames per second. My GoPros don't even go up to 120 frames per second. That was pretty cool. And boy, it was fun to edit too because you can slow right down, stretch it out, and you get to see the arrow. Once that camera stabilizes, because you got to remember it's hooked up to the crossbow, and having the crossbow quieted down with vibration dampening equipment probably helped that Tacticam a little bit get better footage because think about it, it was able to recover faster, so the camera can recover faster. That's my thinking anyway. That's my theory. And for the most part, I'm glad you liked that footage, and I've got more coming. There's 3 more doe hunts from Maryland that'll be up here next week, in the next week or so. So hopefully that will work out good. Jason Robinson, hello to Franklin County, Pennsylvania. We're well represented here, and that's awesome. Brad Keys, yeah, the GoPro is a much wider angle, but I still use the GoPro. And here's the neat thing. You don't need brand new equipment or anything like that either. This is a GoPro 3 Plus Hero Black, the Hero 3 Plus Black, and I'm still using these things. I did videos back in 2014, I think, when I bought them. And they had just come out with the Hero 4, I think, back then. But I bought the Hero 3 Plus Blacks and did videos on them on YouTube. And they were some of the first videos that I posted on this channel. And I've been using it ever since. It's still working good. There's no reason to change it. Until I make a shift to completely 4K, I'm going to stick with the 1080p GoPros. But yeah, the Tacticam is nice because it's zoomed in. It's a different kind of camera. It's a hunting specific camera. So it's kind of nice to have that. Ron, you got the 4.0, yep, and he likes that. I figured he likes that. I'm losing his comment here somewhere, but he loves his new Tacticam 4.0 with the 5x zoom, and that's 5x is way better than the wide-angle GoPro 2. You know what I mean? So you're looking at you don't have to have the brand new one. Nothing wrong with, and they still sell. Tacticam actually still sells and manufactures the 4.0, I guess, too. So yep. Can you attach a monitor to the camera so you can see what you're filming? You can do that with a DSLR type camera and a lot of video cameras quite easily. I don't think you can really do that with this guy, but you don't need to. With the Tacticam, it's mounted on the crossbow rail. It's pointed wherever your crossbow's pointed. So that's not going to be a problem. This one, you could probably mount something to, but you can control this with your phone. And if you get an app, you can use your phone. I can hook this camera to my phone and then use this as a monitor to watch what I'm doing on there. But the nice thing about this, look at this, the flip out screen. How awesome is that? Any camera that does not have this in this day and age is nuts. This is a full access touch screen. It's fully articulated and goes wherever you want it. And boom, you don't need an extra monitor for that one. I just do it with that tap right on the old flip out screen. You can't beat it. Yeah, Mr. Camel, the aero flight path was good with no shading. It was actually really good. Like on the GoPro, by the time the arrow gets there, the GoPro is still like shaking and still not stabilized. The picture hasn't stabilized yet. But you had 2/3 of the arrow flight with this little Tacticam. 2/3 of the arrow flight was visible. It was stable. The camera had caught up. Part of that's because it's shooting 120 frames per second, but that's still pretty slick. That's a neat little thing. Yep. Oh, the Coldren's Fur, Fish, and Feathers Lodge. Now that is a cool name. I'm gonna have to check out that. I'm sure I have checked out your channel because that will have caught my eye in the past, but I don't know off the top of my head if I've been watching your videos or not. But it sounds pretty neat to me. But this lens I have is the Sigma. I love my Sigma lenses for the higher end ones. This is a Sigma 17 to 55. 17 to 50, right? Yeah, 17 to 50 f2.8 lens. It's got the gold ring on it. It's one of their better ones, but it's not a real extremely high end lens. But this is the one I use for a lot of my footage. I do have a Sigma gold ring, an older f1.4 that I use for the indoor filming now. And for the filming though, when you watch these videos and you see me out in the field, all of that is shot with the kit lenses, the cheapo lenses, the $100, $200 lenses. I don't take this guy. This is a little bit heavy and it's a little bit expensive to be taken out in the woods. But you certainly have done that, but it gives better low light performance with these more expensive lenses. But that's the lens that I use for that. I really like those. Jay, you do not comment. You are driving to work, so please don't comment. You can always read this or watch this later, read the comments and comment then. But I appreciate you, tuning into this thing. Hopefully you can listen to it and not watch it in your car. Mark Kirsch brings up a very good point. I bought a Tacticam Solo to use this year to analyze my shots. You just mentioned something that I didn't bring up, and that is another benefit to filming your own hunts is the ability to go back and examine what goes on. How many people have you talked to say, oh, the deer jumped the string, deer jumped the string? If you watch the videos of these deer getting shot, they all jump, they all duck, right? They're all ducking the string, but half of the time, depends on where you are. This is another one of those things that varies where you go. Lots of times they're not moving until they actually feel the arrow hit them. That's when they're moving. And understand that the luminoc, the end of the arrow or whatever, is 20 inches or so removed from the broadhead that's making contact with them. So jumping the string is like the number one thing that I look at, and you can analyze by slowing down your video and looking at it frame by frame and really be able to tell, did you make a good shot or not? Did you hit where you were aiming or not? Was the point of aim the same as the point of impact or not? All of that stuff. Plus, you can go back and reevaluate your shots too to see where that deer went. Where did that deer take off to? Was I looking in the right place or was I looking in the wrong place? Did it enter between these two trees or those two trees? Was it going that direction or this direction? It helps you decipher your blood trails. It really does have a value from the hunting standpoint as well. And it's huge for that. So, Mark, you bring up a very good point. Ohio whitetail, another great question. This is one of the things that I should have thought to write down to mention. And that is editing software. I've shot all my video, went out and got this great hunt, and I've shot some B-roll to go with it, maybe some extra pictures of the beautiful leaves and all that fun stuff, maybe a sunset or two. Plus, I've done a nice little interview. How do I mix it all together? I use Adobe Premiere Pro, the Adobe package. I pay a monthly fee for that. It's probably beyond what you want to do if you're just starting out, but it is the best in the world as far as I'm concerned for video editing software. It gives me access to Photoshop. It gives me access to Lightroom, which helps me do some photography stuff too. And like I said, it's one of the reasons I like this guy, the DSLRs, is because I can take great pictures with it too, or at least for my skills and ability, I can take what I consider great pictures. But in addition to that, it has After Effects, which allows me to work with the flames and the explosions that you've seen on here. It's just stuff I like to do. It's a hobby, and so I want the whole package. There is free software out there, and I really do think that you should look at, and I'm going to hopefully not lose you here. I hope I don't screw this thing up. I'm going to get the name right here so that you don't have a problem with it. I don't want to recommend to you a type of software and then have it not be what I said it was. And there is, of course, Windows Movie Maker. I think they still make that. There's another one on Windows 10 has a video editor. You can use, now they're called apps, so you could use that as well. The one that I had recommended to a lot of other people, though, was called, there's a high-end one called DaVinci Resolve, and that's high-end. That, though, you can almost just use that if you're going to go professional, but you can go a long ways, and what I recommend is HitFilm Express. HitFilm Express is the name of the software that I recommend. If you are getting into video editing, you shot up some great footage, you want to learn how to do the footage, and eventually you don't have to jump into Adobe Premiere Pro right off the bat. You can start out with HitFilm Express, and that gets to the point where you can do an awful lot with that. But then if you want to get even fancier than that, you can download and pay for extra parts of it, but it's free to just download and install. I suggest if you're looking for video editing software that you look into that stuff. So check that out. It is called HitFilm Express, Ohio Whitetail. Ryan Czar says that he has a giant buck, but of course it was right before dark. And man, that's just how it is, isn't it? Isn't it that how? Yeah, that's just how it is some days. So, I know how it is. Good night, Andreas Lumiers. I'm not getting your name correct. He's from Germany. He's been contacting me, and I'm familiar with his name, but unfortunately, I don't know how to pronounce it for sure, so please don't take offense to that. He waited till 1:30 in the morning, 1 o'clock in the morning to make this, and he had to work today. So, now the camera's going to get out of focus. Boy, this live stream stuff, I'm just really losing it on this, aren't I? I don't know what's going on with this. Let it focus on that. That'll do it. Okay. We'll get the focus back. But he stayed up, and that's one of the reasons. I've had problems with this software. The internet should be fast enough here. I have cable internet, but I really do appreciate you folks that have stuck around. But like I said, he's actually on the other side of the planet here watching this stuff, so I really do appreciate people's interest in that. Waiting for my GoPro mount, and I'm going to start recording to see my shots. Brett Collins. That GoPro is a great way to start, especially if you've already got one. Get a mount, figure it out. You can get a little doohickey like this. I made a video about this, how you got this camera clamp where you can mount the GoPro right on the camera, on the clamp, and then you can get a little, I can always adjust it, move it around depending on the way that the tree is. And you can hook this right on the side of your tree stand, film your hunts with that, right? Last year when I shot that buck in Maryland that I lost, that video, the only footage I had was from that GoPro because I wasn't going to be able to mount this next to me in a one-man tree stand the way that tree stand was set up. And when you travel, you got to be mobile. You got to be able to sort of think of things at the last minute. And the GoPro allows you to do that because it's not real demanding. That GoPro is pretty slick. And so if you've got a GoPro now, by all means, start using them for that. All right, that fishing guy. I make deer hunting look too easy. I've been in the woods every day since 9/5 opening day here on my own land. Every day, nothing. I got lucky this year. This year, though, I've been really thinking about it an awful lot. Remember, I was hunting over bait, hunting over corn. I do that every year when I go to Maryland because it's legal in Maryland, and it's just the way that they do it. Well, that's awesome, but most years it was not as effective. This year was ridiculously successful. It just wasn't normally that way. But a lot of that was because the crops, it was such a wet year for those folks. The crops just weren't there, and the deer were more attracted to the bait this time of year than they normally would have been. But hang in there, that fishing guy. If you're out there, that's the only way you're going to see some deer, and you're only going to see animals. But you're going to have a great time anyway, and I hope you shoot some great stuff. Get it used to using the camera. Use it to your advantage, and force yourself to shoot 15 to 30 minutes worth of video every time you go out, whether it's squirrels, whether it is leaves, whether it's your tree stand, a sunset, whatever else. Get used to the filming and get used to your camera. Use it to your advantage. You'll get a lot out of it. So good luck to you. I do hope that works out. Jason Robinson, thank you for the kind words and for the encouragement. He says, I will get better at this live stream with practice. Did improve a little bit, got software going here, and I just can't get that software to do what it's supposed to do. So we'll get there, though. I'm not going to give up on it because I'm enjoying this stuff. So we're up to 46 people. I think we would have more people if, we had a bunch of people that were on the other one probably fed up with me. So, but I appreciate so much you folks that are interested in this stuff and are willing to talk to me about it, because, that's the one thing about crossbow hunting. When you grew up a rifle hunter, every year when you went hunting, it wasn't very much of the year. It was just during the 2-week rifle season here in Pennsylvania. But you're always talking to your grandfather, always talking to your father, always talking to your uncle, you're always talking to your cousins, all those, at least in my experience, always talking to all these folks. And with crossbow hunting, it's different. It's like, I prefer crossbow hunting, don't get me wrong, the style of hunting, but it's just me. And without you guys, and without the internet, I really don't have an awful lot of people to talk to about it. So it's pretty cool to be able to share it with people that are interested in it. And that's the great thing about the internet. Hopefully we can really, really make that really work. And hopefully I'll be better at this down the road. So, Greg in Ohio, yeah, you don't have to start filming right now. Take your time. Take your time. You'll get there. Start with one camera. Start with some guy like this, one of these little things, something you can mount on your weapon, or maybe a wide-angle GoPro, just to get a feel for it, just to see how much it does off to the side, so it can record you and the deer, or you and the wild hogs, or whatever it is you're hunting, all in the same picture. Don't need to start with one of these. In fact, I recommend you don't start with one of these. This is more advanced. You probably want to go to like a video camera before we jump into the DSLR game, that's for sure. And looking down through here, the Coldren's Fur Fish and Feathers Lodge says, heck, I'm still trying to figure out how to watch the live streams, LOL. Yeah, I know what you mean. That's pretty funny. So we'll figure it out together. How's that? We'll figure this stuff. Sweet Tea, my GoPro goes 240 frames at 1080p. That is sweet right there. It's the 6 Black. They just came out with the 7. Can you believe that? But yeah, 240 frames, 1080p. That's awesome. I have looked at upgrading primarily for the slow motion. That 240 frames, that gives you a lot to work with. You can really do some awesome stuff with that. Slow those arrows right down. Yeah, the Hero 7 Outdoors with Samuel. Yeah, the 7 just came out. All of a sudden, my video feed, I'm not on YouTube as much as I need to be, because I'm trying to make these videos and all that sort of thing. But I notice every time I get in there, I'm responding to comments. I'm trying to hunt here too, this time of year. But the comments, or the subscription feed has there's a whole bunch of videos on the new GoPro 7. So I'm excited to look into that, what that has too. Probably even faster slow motion, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Oh, I'm just jumping ahead of me here. Jay Smith would like to see some bear hunts. So would I. And you are going to, if things go as I am hoping, we are going to see some bear hunts in the near future, where Bungie is going to hunt some bears. What do you think of that? Pretty excited about that stuff. Frog Fishing Freak, what are your thoughts on scent killer, and how many times have you been smelled from a tree stand? Probably lots, and probably lots more than I know. And I think that's probably goes for most of us. Scent killing stuff, I do the shower with a body wash. I wash all my clothes. I now have the Ozonics machines to do the laundry with, and my initial thoughts are that laundry thing is awesome. It will save your camo from all the wear and tear going through the wash, maybe make it last longer. The brightness of the colors at least lasts longer. And I do like that. That Ozonic stuff does take the human odor out of it. I think once you've done all that stuff, hanging the Ozonics machine above you in the tree stand isn't as useful unless you're getting to the point where you've been there a long time and you are starting to accumulate odors. Then it could be quite valuable. So do I feel that the Ozonics made a difference? Not the one in the tree stand. I'm not going to give any thumbs up to that yet. I'm going to try that out here in Pennsylvania pretty heavy, and see what I can get. In Maryland, the deer are around people all the time down there anyway, because it's a little bit more suburban. But the car cleaner, keeping the scent down in the car when I'm going between tree stands, and the laundry cleaner, the scent crusher tote, oh, that thing I really liked. I like that thing. I think that was a good investment. Ron Lanzo is comfortable with getting comfortable with iMovie, and it's free, but it's not perfect. But it's a great place to start, and it gives you the concepts of video editing, Ron. And that's a great place to start. So thanks for mentioning that. If you're a Mac guy, the iMovie is a free that comes with your thing there, and that's actually better than your Windows Movie Maker. If they still make Windows Movie Maker, I don't know, but there's a video editing app on Windows 10, so there still is a Microsoft free product. But really, check out that Hit Film Express. You won't be disappointed if you're a PC guy. I think that has a lot of really good. That has a lot of really good features. I'm reading the comments. Boomer 1981 ABC says, I got to upgrade from my 8mm camera. It makes too much noise in the stand. I bet it does. I bet it does. That's classic. That's just great. I don't know how people, I guess they just didn't film hunts back when they were filming on film. I guess it just wasn't done. Moose Junction Hunter says, I don't film my hunts. If I did, I'd have a great blue jay and squirrel YouTube channel. You and me both, man. I've got some of the best squirrel footage. But it's a great way to learn how to film stuff. There's nothing wrong with, and blue jays too. Blue jays are like the most annoying thing here. I don't know about where you guys hunt, but blue jays are just loud and obnoxious. An occasional woodpecker. If you get one of those giant woodpeckers, like the 24-inch long woodpeckers that we have here, every once in a while I'll see one of those, and they're a little scary. A little scary to see out there. Sneaky Ninja, I'm glad you love the videos, and thank you for logging on here. And Ryan, you and I are going to have to talk more about how to set up these live streams. You guys, some of you guys, if you want to send me some tips on how to, what I want to accomplish is this with these live streams. I want to be able to set up a thumbnail and an event that shows up in your subscription feed on your YouTube channel, on your subscription feed, so you know when it's going to be. And then you can kind of remember, and then you can show up and watch it. And I can, with the OBS software or some other kind of software, log into that and get into that same feed where you guys are already accumulated, you're already watching it, and not lose you and have to start a new feed every time that I want to get live. Every time I want to do the live stream, I got to start a separate feed, and I lose everybody who's already on here. That's the problem. So it's a not be live chat. Set it to top chat and live chat. If it's that, I'll check on it, but I appreciate the input. And Boomer, I'm glad you're excited about this and not the rifle season. I don't think people should pick. You don't necessarily have to pick crossbows over rifles. But for me, it's like I just kind of lost interest in rifle hunting once I got sort of set up for crossbow hunting. That's the way it is. Oh, and Jason, I'm glad you want me to keep doing this. We'll keep doing it. We'll keep doing it. Brett Collins indicates that I had so much fun. Wow. Had a great blood trail and lost the deer. Couldn't find it afterward. You know, that happens every once in a while. Stuff like that happens, and I don't know what that is. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know. Without being there, everybody can offer suggestions. He says that it went 130 yards, great blood trail, and all of a sudden it looked like she got picked up and carried away. It's possible that she backtracked, came back, something spooked her. She came back the same way. He or she, whatever deer you shot, but came back on the same blood trail and then went off of that, and you never saw the one trunk that went out. That can happen. You can have a deer because does, especially, at least we're in Pennsylvania. I'm not in Maryland. I haven't tracked far enough to have this issue, but in Pennsylvania, what I've noticed is does are not going to leave the area. They got a home range that's real small. They're going to stay right around there. And their blood trails, if they're bleeding bad but not dead, it's not a lethal one, immediately lethal hit. You'll see them backtrack on the same path because it's the path they always take. So you think you're following a blood trail out once. It's a great blood trail, but it's actually two blood trails. It's them going out and them coming back. Think about that. Maybe that would help. I don't know. But, I'm just throwing that out there. That can happen. They will overlap their own blood trails. Whitetail Bushcraft, come to your farm in Ohio and hunt someday. I'm free next week. We'll figure it out. I do want to go to Ohio. That is on my short list of places to go, and I very much appreciate you folks that are suggesting that would be good. And Moose Junction Hunter, I want to make this a hunting community too, so I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad that we can all participate in this. That's awesome. Yep, and Boomer 1981 ABC is suggesting a local bloodhound to help you find that deer. And that is the way to make it. I'm telling you, that's the way to do that stuff. Those dogs, if you can do that, legally you can't do that in Pennsylvania yet, but if you can do that, that is a great thing to do. Whitetail Bushcraft, we should all do a Death by Bungee meet and greet. I want to do something like that down the road. People had suggested a lot here recently, and I hadn't really heard of that. I didn't know it was a thing. I didn't know people did stuff like that other than this live stream stuff. But down the road, maybe next summer, we could do something where we could get together and shoot some crossbows or something. That'd be a lot of fun. Jay Smith is sitting here eating some deer sticks and enjoying the video. I am glad to hear it. And he also thinks the meet and greet's a good idea. Okay, and then Boomer 1981 ABC is naming his Matrix 350 Rumble. That is a great name. I think that's awesome. Rumble is a great name for a crossbow. Well, that's what they do too. Boy, they just rumble, right? They loud and proud. That's what I always say. And then Jay is also less interested in rifle as he used to be, and I think that's, yeah, you kind of grow up that way. Moose Junction Hunter is suggesting a wild game feed at my place. That's not a bad idea. I've got the venison, and we start in Pennsylvania next Saturday. So I'm, early season here is all about doe hunting for me. And I'm kind of wondering like how much energy I'm going to put into a Pennsylvania doe, because I've got 4 does now in the freezer. So we'll see what we can do. But we're getting some great comments here. The Mr. Camo saying he'll bring the venison liver pate. And if you bring, what do you eat with liver pate? I don't even know what you eat with. You don't just eat the pate, right? You eat it on crackers or something? What do you eat it on? Because I'd probably fill up on the crackers if you're bringing liver pate. Any tips on getting the string off my Reds buffer on my Micro 335? Nope. Not off the top of my head. I'd have to look at it. Not off the top of my head. Ron cannot carry additional stuff to his tree stand. Boy, do I agree with that. This camera stuff, it does take up. I'm starting to carry 2 bags now. 1 bag full of the camera gear, 1 bag full of my other stuff that I carry to the tree stand. That is just one of those things. Calvin, you get off to work, man. Good luck to you, man. I hope that goes well. Calvin's Corner 72. Check out his channel if you haven't already. He's been around here on Death by Bungee for a long, long time. He has some crossbow stuff, and he's just an all-around fun guy. So when can we buy some merch from Jay Smith? deathbybungee.com does have stuff, not to plug it too much here or make this all about that, but the t-shirts, the koozies, the CDs, stuff like that, that's all on that website. It's all accessible down there if you're interested in that stuff. So you can always go look at that. I am going to upgrade the website here one of these days too once I get that figured out. So we're getting some tips from Boomer for taking that string off. Listen to that, read those. That's good stuff. Norman Neighbors is filming squirrels just like the rest of us. That's great stuff. And Brett, I do hope you make out okay with that. Crackers, cheese, and hot peppers with his liver pate. That's nothing wrong with that. I'd be all over that. Gary Rose and I will finish off the crackers if there's not enough of that left. So, and all right. I think we're getting to the bottom of this. A lot of people are getting ready to go off to work, off to bed, and I'm actually getting ready to go off to bed here too. I have been out for quite a while, and I've been up since very early today. So it's just one of those things. PA2, I heard that lures and cover scents are legal this year. Is that true? Pennsylvania, yes, you can use scents lures for deer, not for bears. Can't use, at least that's my understanding, can't use lures or scents for bears. You can, calling or pushing is all you can do for bears. No food, nothing. And for deer, you can bait in Pennsylvania, very limited areas, very limited, just down in Philadelphia basically. And then you can do the lures and all the scents and stuff like that, but not something that would qualify as bait, so no foods. That's where we're at with that. And I think we're getting there good. When is my daughter going to go out and pull the trigger? I'm not sure about that. I don't know the answer to that question. She likes the outdoors, loves the videos, likes participating in this stuff, but that's about it. So So I think that's where we're at, and I think that's about it. I'm getting ready to wrap it up here myself here, folks. I really do appreciate you guys logging on here, sticking with me. We ended up with 40 or so people that found this live feed, maybe more, I don't know. But I really do appreciate you coming over here. I almost just threw my hands up and said, heck with it, when I was having those troubles. But I'm going to figure this stuff out. We're going to make it more convenient, more comfortable, more dependable, and hopefully even more entertaining down the road as we go forward with these live streams. So thank you very much. Off to your birthday dinner, Ryan, and all the rest of you. Good night. Thank you very much for tuning into this. I really do appreciate it. And my last comment there. Until next time, all hail Bungie. All right. Thanks a lot, you guys. Good night.